Good morning, Stampers. Thank you for joining me today. This is Laura Buechler of Inky Fingers Papercrafting, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Nanaimo, BC. And on this Sunday morning, I'm hoping that you and your family are faring well after last night's time change. Always a challenging one, but hopefully it will go well for you. Now today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful 4-way fold card. This is an awesome way to show off all your beautiful designer series papers, and as you can see, I've once again chosen the Botanical Butterfly designer series paper, which is one that you can earn free until March 31st as a celebration item. You can earn this free with a qualifying purchase of $60 in my online store. It's absolutely gorgeous paper. I don't know, drop me a comment and tell me, are you tired of this paper or do you love it as much as I do? I'd love to hear your opinion. Now this particular card fold is similar to the tri-shutter fold that you may have done. You may have heard of that. But the tri-shutter uses 12 by 12 cardstock, which I don't tend to keep on hand. I use mainly 8.5 by 11 cardstock. And this fold, which I just recently found, it's the same as the tri-shutter fold, except that you can create it using 8.5 by 11 cardstock. So I love that. It's perfect for me. I can whip up one of these cards anytime. The finished card is the usual size that I use to make cards, which is 5.5 by 4.25, and it's going to fit inside an invitation envelope. So let me show you what you're going to need to create this card. First of all, you're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock that are the same color. Now this first piece is 4.5 by 5.5, and it's scored along the long side at 4.25. And then this piece measures 5.5 by 8.5, and you're going to score it at 2 1/8, 4 1/4, and 6 3/8. Now you may notice on the Stampin Trimmer, it's actually just about impossible to see the 6 3/8 measurement because that's where the long arm folds out, and there's a few measurements that are just kind of lost in the, let's call it the armpit of the trimmer. But fear not, because this last score line is actually 2 1/8 from the edge. So what I do is I score this one at 2 1/8, move it along, score at 4 1/4, and then I rotate it and score this one at 2 1/8 again. So that's my little trick for that. And you'll also need a white piece of cardstock which measures 4 by 5 1/4, and this is going to be the insert where you write your message. Now, of course, you're going to need designer series paper. So many beautiful pieces of designer series paper. All right, let me walk you through what each of these are. Now, it would probably create a really interesting effect if you used the same paper on each of these pieces, but I've used a bunch of different ones. So you can mix and match and do what you like, and show me your project in the comments on my blog. I would love to see what you create with this. So these pieces, the measurements are, this piece is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. Then you're going to need 2 pieces that measure 2 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And again, you could use the same paper for these or different, whatever you'd like. You'll also need 2 pieces that measure 2 inches by 2 7/8 inches. And then finally, you'll need these 4 pieces which measure 1 1/8 by 2 inches. All right. So let me gather all these out of the way, and I'll show you how to assemble this card. So you've already done the score lines. I've walked you through that process, but what you now need to do is these cut lines. What you need to do is measure or line up this cardstock in your trimmer at the 1 1/4 inch line, and then cut between the first score line and the third score line. So you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Line this up in your trimmer at 1 1/4 inches from your blade. Line up your blade at the first score line and put it down, and cut down to the third score line, and then stop. And that's how you're going to get that interesting little center panel here. So once you've done that, then you can go ahead and burnish those score lines. And generally at this stage, I'm not worrying too much about which way the folds are going. I just want to start coaxing the cardstock into moving along those lines. Okay, and then once I have some movement there, once the cardstock has sort of figured out where those score lines are, then I'm going to gently start coaxing it into moving the way that I want, which in this case, I want the top panel to move backwards, the front panel to move forwards, and then the bottom panel is moving backwards again, so that your final effect is this. Okay. All right, so I'm going to set that aside for a moment and bring in my other piece, which you'll remember we have a score line running just 1/4 inch from the edge. So I'm going to give that a little bit of a fold there. And then I'm going to add my trusty tear and tape. Now this is, I love this adhesive. It is just fantastic for any kind of 3D project or a project like this where the cardstock really needs to be strong. Tear and tape means business. So I'm applying that just to the inside of that score line. I'm going to add one more little piece there. Oh, stuck right to my finger. Peeled the backing right off that one. Let's try that again. Stick that right down. Now you'll notice that the tear and tape is actually a little bit wider than 1/4 inch. It's a little bit wider than the section that is scored on your cardstock, and that's okay. I'm going to show you how to deal with that. So we get the backing peeled off, get that out of the way. And now what I'm going to do is just run my finger along. Can you see that? Run my finger along, and what I'm doing is pulling the adhesive that's hanging over and pulling it down gently so that it's going to stick to itself. And it's just that simple. So now if you look at that, it's no longer overhanging. The adhesive is no longer overhanging the project. It's now all down within that scored area where you want it to be. Okay, now let's figure out how this is going to be assembled here. Okay, so I'm going to, if you can visualize this already, that this is the front of your card, I want this piece to stick to the back of the card. So I'm going to flip this over. So we're now looking at the back of the card. And I'm going to butt this piece right up against that score line and make sure it's lined up all along. And then I'm going to fold that down and use my bone folder to really press that in. And there we go. So there's our card. Very cool, right? Now we get to decorate it with all these beautiful papers. So what I like to do is just kind of lay them out and experiment with how I want them to go. Make sure, you know, do I want it to be on this side or that side? Do I want this one here or there? So figure out exactly where you want all those pieces to go. And this is how I'm going to do it on this card. And these little polka dot pieces in here. That's how I'm going to assemble it. Now I'm not going to make you watch me do all the adhesive because that's going to be really boring. I'm going to cut and I'll be back in a minute with all of these pieces stuck down. All right, we're back. So now I've gotten all that beautiful paper down on my card. You can see how gorgeous that looks. And now there's just a couple more things I need to do to finish this card. First of all, I need to put the the white insert on. So I'll show you where that goes. The card that I originally saw had, actually the white insert was right here, but in that case then you would end up seeing part of the handwriting when you had that finished card. So I decided I liked it better to put it over on this panel here. So that's what I'm doing. So there we go. And then you can write your message right there on the back. And then put that aside for a moment, because the last part that we're going to do is decorate the front, add our sentiment. Now I've already stamped the sentiment in Grapefruit Grove ink and punched that out with my circle punch, and then I've got a die cut scalloped circle out of Grapefruit Grove, and you can see I've even sponge daubed around the edges here of the circle with Grapefruit Grove ink, and look at how nice that looks. And then I've got some little butterflies that I've punched out from our trusty Botanical Butterfly paper, and I'm going to assemble that. So let me show you how to put that together. The sentiment on this card, "Welcome to the team," is from a beautiful stamp set called Stampin' Your Way to the Top, which is available only to Stampin' Up demonstrators. And you can guess why I'm making a card that says "Welcome to the team." It's because I'm about to welcome a new team member, which is so exciting. I have had a whole bunch of people join my team over Celebration over the last couple months, and I'm so excited for all of them to enjoy all the perks of being a Stampin' Up demonstrator, starting with getting a 20% discount on all of the products that you purchase. I mean, if you're buying them anyway, you might as well get a discount, right? I don't see why not. And then there's other wonderful benefits that you can get if you want to build your business or even enjoy it as a hobbyist. If that's something that interests you and you'd like to see one of these beautiful cards in your mailbox, let me know. When you join during Celebration, the usual starter kit deal, which is $135 for $165 worth of items of your choice, anything that you choose. But during Celebration, which runs until March 31st, you actually get $225 worth of items for $135. So that's pretty unbeatable. So final step, I'm going to use one of these clear faceted gems just to add a little bit of sparkle here. And I'm using my Take Your Pick tool to pick that up. This has quickly become one of my very favorite tools in my craft room, and you can see why. That's so easy to do. So there we go, there's our finished card. What do you think? Do you love it? Oh, I've got that adhesive stuff on there again. There we go, perfect, all taken care of. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. You might notice a few things that are different from last week's video, a couple special additions. So if you notice that and if you like it, drop me a comment below and let me know. Your comments help motivate me to make more videos. And remember, if there's a specific technique or a project that you'd like to learn, let me know. I'm always looking for your ideas. And please remember that you can purchase all the Stampin' Up! Products used in this video on my website, including this fabulous tool, these gorgeous gems, and much, much more. And you can purchase all of them on my website, inkyfingers.ca, and you'll also find there more project tutorials, current promotional details and catalogs, my local workshop schedule, and the sign up for my monthly email newsletter. If you're watching this on YouTube, please know that I also have a Facebook page under Inky Fingers Papercrafting, where you can join a weekly card sketch challenge and win a prize from me. If you place an order, please remember to use the current Hostess code, which you can find on my website, because everyone who uses that code is going to get a free gift from me. And if you want to earn your own Hostess rewards, all you need to do is place an order over $200 or book your own in-home or virtual party. Please drop me a line for more details. Have a great day, everyone, and happy stampin'!